Be a present to either of the constables of the town of Raynham and the county of Bristol reading in the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of said town qualified to vote in elections and in town affairs to meet at the Raynham Middle School's Joseph A. Betancourt Auditorium in said Raynham on Monday the 13th day of November 2017 at 7 o'clock in the evening, and then in there to act on the following articles, and there are 27. And you are directed to serve this warrant by posting up attested copies thereof at the 6 places directed by order of the town in the said town 14 days before the time of holding said meeting. Hereof fail not to make due return of this warrant of your doings thereon to the town clerk at the time and place of meeting. As aforesaid, given under our hands this 30th day of October in the year of our Lord 2017, and that is signed by our Board of Selectmen Karen Donahue, Marie Smith, and Joe Pacheco. And pursuant to the written warrant, I have notified and warned the inhabitants of the town of Raynham by posting up attested copies of the same at 6 places directed by the vote of the town 14 days before the date of the meeting as within directed. And then I have an unsigned copy. I'm going to assume Chief Donovan. Was he the constable on this? And that is signed by Chief James Donovan. Welcome, everybody, to the special town meeting, the fall version of our legislative process. Looks like mostly veterans here tonight. Any first-timers? Any first time? I got one over here? Okay. Welcome. Before we get started, why don't we dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you join me and stand, please. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Again, welcome everybody. My name is John Donahue. I am your town moderator, joined up here on the stage by our Board of Selectmen, Karen Donahue, no relation. I feel like I have to say that. I don't know why. Marie Smith and Joe Pacheco, Town Council Ted Peetnick, Town Clerk Marcy Sylvia, Chairman of the Capital Planning Committee Brendan Loftus, Chairman of the Finance Committee Gil Aligi, members of the Finance Committee Linda DeMello and Ted Sargent. Did I miss anybody? Got them all? There are also various town officials and town department heads here. Some of them are sitting down front with me in the non-resident area, and I guess we should ask the town meeting's consent before we start, that should the need arise that any of the non-residents speak to explain or to walk the town meeting through any of the warrant articles, that they be allowed to do so. Do I have any objection to that? Seeing none. We are here again to take up 28 articles. This is primarily the capital planning aspect of the legislative process with regards to the finances of the town. If you recall, we meet every May to work on the operational budget and also bylaws and zoning articles. For the most part, the fall meeting is financially related. I know our Capital Planning Committee and Finance Committee have been working hard. They've presented a reasonable, in my opinion, a reasonable warrant for us to talk about tonight, and we'll work through these articles fairly quickly. I tend to move quickly through the reading of the articles. If anybody has any questions, all you need to do is get my attention. I don't believe that microphone on that side works. I don't think it was ever plugged in. Can you see, John, if that was? No cord. Well, you don't need it. If anybody on this side of the room feels they need a microphone, I do know that this one is working. When you approach the microphone, all we ask is that you state your name and address for the town clerk and the record. With that being done, I don't think we have any visitors tonight that need to be recognized. No? Ground rules are the same as the annual town meeting, folks. All we ask is that when you do approach, you keep your comments specifically germane to the article at hand. We don't like to stray too much. And again, I encourage everybody, if you have a question, please do not hesitate to ask. Get my attention, stop me, yell, I'll try to see you, but if I don't, make sure you get my attention before we move on to the vote. There's one article, and I'll address it when we get there, that will need a 9/10 vote. So I would ask when we get to that point that everybody be vocal on that so that we can record the vote as necessary. That is important for the record. So, unless I have any questions, we're going to move right into the warrant. We good to go up front? Article 1. To see if the town will vote to transfer from the sewer enterprise retained earnings account the sum of $570,000 for the upgrading and installation of new wastewater pumps at the Paramount Pump Station to accommodate future flows from 2006 expansion, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 1. Discussion on Article 1. Mr. Luciano.
Gordon Luciano, Chairman of the Sewer Commission. I would like to motion to amend the dollar amount to $597,929.
Motion has been made and seconded to amend Article 1, changing the figure $570,000 to $597,929. Discussions on the motion to amend Article 1. It's on the floor, so seeing no discussion, all those in favor of amending Article 1, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 1 is amended. Karen? Motion to, as amended? Motion has been made and seconded to accept Article 1 as amended. Discussion on Article 1 as amended. Seeing none, all in favor of Article 1 as amended, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 1 passes as amended. Article 2, to see if the town will vote to transfer from the sewer enterprise retained earnings account the sum of $52,000 for the purchase of one F-350 16,000 GVW gas pickup truck with plow or equal, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to accept Article 2. Discussion on Article 2. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 2, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 2 passes. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to transfer from the sewer enterprise retained earnings account the sum of $17,650 for prior year bills, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 3. Discussion on Article 3. And as I mentioned in my preamble, folks, this is the article that will require a 9/10 rate if it is to pass. Discussion on Article 3. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 3, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 3 passes unanimously. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $100,000 to add to the salt storage building stabilization fund, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 4. Discussion on Article 4. Mr. Wheeler.
When will the 82 judges loop? Is this the last appropriation? This is the $300,000 mark now, is it not? Is that going to be adequate now?
Question from Mr. Wheeler for either the board or Mr. Buckley.
The $300,000 will finish the initial request for to cover the cost of the salt shed building, which that will do. There will be additional articles coming forward when we have a final cost of the whole construction for the salt shed and facility.
So what's the total amount?
We don't have a final figure right now on that, but we will have something hopefully by this spring.
So we don't know.
The $300,000 is for the building.
Right.
The estimate for the building is about $275.
Right. So this is the last appropriation for that building.
Correct.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buckley. Further questions on Article 4? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 4, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 4 passes. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $82,000 to purchase one mini excavator with attachments, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 5. Discussion on Article 5. Seeing none, all in favor of Article 5, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 5 passes. Article 6, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $85,000 to purchase one F-550 or equal six-wheel utility truck, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 6. Discussion on Article 6. Seeing none, all in favor of Article 6, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 6 passes. Article 7, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $19,000 to purchase one John Deere 997 mower or equal, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 7. Discussion on Article 7. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 7, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 7 passes. Article 8, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $135,000 to purchase one F-750 medium-duty 9-wheel dump truck or equal, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 8. Discussion on Article 8. So we got the 350, the 550, the 750. Is there a 950 coming, or are we out of money? No? Any discussion on Article 8? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 8, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 8 passes. Article 9, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $25,000 to purchase school zone safety equipment and signage, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 9. Discussion on Article 9. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 9, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 9 passes. Article 10, to see if the town will vote to transfer $349,108 as detailed below from the ambulance receipts account to operate the ambulance service for the second half of fiscal year 2018. Any monies not used to be returned to ambulance receipts account, or take any action relative thereto. Personnel expenses $232,054, expenses $117,054, for a grand total of $349,108. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 10. Discussion on Article 10. Seeing none, all in favor of Article 10, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 10 passes. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $58,840 for the fire alarm system to be installed in the Fire and Police Department building, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 11. Discussion on Article 11. Seeing none, all in favor of Article 11, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 11 passes. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to transfer from the fire alarm account the sum of $22,000 to purchase a new chief's vehicle, 2018 Chevrolet Tahoe or equal, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 12. Discussion on Article 12. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 12, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 12 passes. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $19,000 for the balance needed to complete the purchase of a new chief's vehicle, 2018 Chevrolet Tahoe or equal, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 13. Discussion on Article 13. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 13 passes. Article 14, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $50,000 for the purpose of paying architectural and engineering costs associated with the building of an addition to the fire department, including any remodeling and reconstruction of the existing building required by the Americans with Disabilities Act, to take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 14. Discussion on Article 14. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 14, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 14 passes. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $171,000 to purchase 3 new police patrol vehicles or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 15. Discussion on Article 15. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 15, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 15 passes. Article 16, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $16,400 to purchase a new display trailer with 40-inch by 50-inch full graphics or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 16. Discussion on Article 16. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 16, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 16 passes. Article 17, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $10,000 for the continued costs associated with the treatment of Johnson's Pond to remove unwanted invasive plant growth or take any action thereto. Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion on Article 17. Can I get an amendment to add relative? Motion has been made and seconded to amend Article 17 to insert the word relative after the word action and prior to the word thereto. Discussion on the motion to amend Article 17. Seeing none, all those in favor of amending Article 17, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 17 is amended. Motion has been made and seconded to accept Article 17 as amended. Discussion on Article 17 as amended. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Article 17 passes as amended. Apologies for that one, folks. That was a typo. That got past a bunch of us. There are a lot of sets of eyes on this warrant. I don't know how that got past us. One word doesn't seem like it means a lot, but really the word relative in that sense allows the town and the proponent of the article to have a little bit of wiggle room with regards to what they do and what the intent of the article is. Without the word relative, it's very stringent. What?
The chairman gets recognized in Articles 19 and 20. You're going to have that same
Excellent. Let me just take a quick look and see if we missed it anywhere else. I don't think we did. I went looking for trouble and found it. Okay, we're good. Okay. We voted on that, right? Yes, we did. So we're on Article, all right, Joe, I'm with you. Article 18, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $600,000 to the general stabilization account or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 18. Discussion on Article 18. Mr. Wheeler.
Mr. Moderator, I agree strongly with this statement that you made a week ago at the Freetown meeting, and Mr. Aligi also agreed, I think, to that our stabilization account as it stands now, I believe, is somewhere in the neighborhood of $2.9 million, equal to or exceeding the recommendation of the Department of Revenue. So I see no need of putting an additional $600,000 in that stabilization account. I think it's time that we think about maintaining our tax rate. I think it's time to think about the everyday taxpayer, and I basically urge anyone here, and I urge the Finance Committee and the Capital Committee, the assessors, and the treasurer for the future to think about saving this free cash
and applying it to reduce the revenue for the taxpayer. I fully agree that a small amount of $600,000 or $700,000 is not going to be a big dent in the reduction. But if you don't start somewhere, and I personally think that it's time that we do not add to the stabilization account, but we save this free cash and add it to the May forecast. I thought about maybe we shouldn't continue this 2.5% increase over the prior year's tax levies. However, I'm not sure I like that idea, because obviously it reduces the levies subsequent to that for the other years. But I do think, regardless of what we do tonight, I urge town administrators and departments, and I think our managers have done a fantastic job, or we wouldn't have the free cash that we do. When I reading the papers about our neighboring towns, I'm sure that they really envy the position that the town of Raynham has done. And this is done because we've had extremely competent managers, and I congratulate them all and thank you. But I basically have said enough. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Pacheco?
Thank you, Mr. John.
No, go ahead.
Mr. Whaler, I can address your concerns in a few different ways. I would say first, we got to where we are tonight, as you alluded to, because of sound financial planning and not committing the town to expenses that were outside of our ability to pay. And I don't think you're going to get an argument from any of us up here as to long-term the need to alleviate some of the burden on the taxpayer. And I think if you look back just a few months ago, we started that process. We refinanced some debt. We paid down additional debt. And in the same token, we also got a bond rating increase, which will save the taxpayers money should we go out to bond again. And so we've started those conversations. We've started that process. And I believe we're headed in the right direction. But I also believe, and I believe it's the unanimous decision of the finance team in Raynham, to make this deposit to further shore up our stabilization account in the event that we hit one of those economic downturns again, and in the same breath recognize that after this deposit and after this town meeting, we start working towards assembling a group to come together with some ideas on what we do in May and moving forward. But it's my firm opinion that right now this deposit is necessary and appropriate, and we would not be exceeding DOR recommendations. We'd still be within the DOR recommendations. So I think I would have a different opinion if in fact this deposit was forcing us to exceed those expectations and recommendations, but that's just not the case.
Well, Joe, I thank you for your comments. I don't agree exactly with you, but I was told by one of my original supervisors that that's why we have both chocolate and vanilla ice cream.
Dwayne, I'm speaking as I mentioned last Tuesday night, and I'll say it again, but I'm speaking as a taxpayer now, not as town moderator. I agree with you 100%, and I also stated last Tuesday night that this was a wonderful thing to argue about. We have too much money. I mean, there are not a lot of towns in the Commonwealth who are faced with having to decide whether or not we should take less from the taxpayer or the amount that we've been taking every year. And I'm with you. I've been asking the same question, and I think I started asking it back when you were chairman of the FinCom committee, which was, when is enough enough? And I think it was $400,000 last year. Was it in May, or was it actually last fall? Last fall, I think it was 400, and the answer I got was we're almost there, right? So I think 600 probably gets us there comfortably tonight, right?
Well, it was 600 last year, too.
Was it? You have a better memory than I do.
No, I
You brought the old warrant. But I definitely think that this town, and you know, we've made all of the right, I think we being the taxpayers and the voters, over the years, and I'm thinking back to the building of this building, I'm thinking back to the renovation of La Liberty and Merrill, I'm thinking back to the building of the new high school, I'm thinking back to the renovation of the Sullivan School, the building of the senior center, all of these debt exclusions that people have come forward and said, yes, you can go ahead and do that because we see value in that. And I think that the town earned a certain amount of influence over the taxpayers simply because the town has been, and hopefully always will be, run very well financially. And it dates back long before my time here that the FinCom was always made up of folks that understood the value of long-term planning. And that's a credit to boards, current boards of selectmen, and many boards of selectmen before them. But I think we are at a crossroads, and I think that barring some unforeseen economic downturn, which, hey, that could come tomorrow, right? We don't know. But barring that, I think it is time for the town to take a step back and congratulate themselves and say, we've done everything that we've needed to do from a capital expenditure perspective. We don't think that there are any major expenses coming down the pipe. And maybe it is time to take a look at the tax levy, and do we need to go to 2.5% every single year? And if the answer is no, and Joe, that's a wonderful idea to get a group together to actually think about between now and next May, making some recommendations to the Board of Selectmen about what the long-term plan is for the financial condition of the town, and in particular regards to the taxation and taking the tax levy to 2.5% every year. So it's a great problem to have. You know, we should be thankful that we have this problem. But I hope that we don't have another large article like this coming up at the next town meeting without having some prior work done on why, right? And I know that Brendan and Gil and I were talking a little bit before the meeting, and I think that the two boards understand that maybe it's time to take a deep dive on this thing and see if there's some long-term plan around taxation in the town of Raynham, and I think they'd be commended if that is the way we go with this. Brendan?
I'd like to add a couple of quick points to that. Can you hear me, Dwayne, down there? Can you hear me? Yes. Can you hear me now? Beautiful. I think you're 100% right. Your point is well taken. But if you look at the overall budget of the town of Raynham, we're looking at roughly an raise and appropriate number of approaching $40 million. When we put this 600,000 into that number, we'll have approximately 3.4 million in the kitty. That's approximately 1 month's expenses for the town. I think we need that. It's approximately 8% of the overall budget. I think it's good money management. You're correct in thinking that are we collecting more money than we need. I think we need this. I think we should form a study committee, report to the selectmen, and come up with some methods going forward at the Maytown meeting. That's my opinion. Thank you very much.
Further discussion on Article 18? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 18, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 18 passes. Article 19, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $10,000 for the repair and or replacement of field signs by the Park and Rec Grounds Department, or take any action thereto. Let me get it on the floor first, John. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 19. Can I get an amendment on the floor before you speak? Yeah, we have to put the word relative. We have to invite our relatives back into the article. The motion to amend. We have a motion to amend Article 19, inserting the word relative after the word action, before the word thereto. Discussion on the motion to amend Article 19. Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to amend Article 19, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 19 is amended. Okay, sir.
probably a typo. I believe these were added after we had our meeting, and it just slipped through the cracks. Yes, yes.
Any further discussion on Article 19? All those in favor of Article 19 as amended, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 19 passes as amended. Article 20, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $25,000 for the purpose of finishing the reconstruction of the Pleasant Street basketball courts and take any action thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 20.
Excuse me.
Hold on.
Is it amended first?
Hey, you want to amend it? Would you like to put the relative in?
I actually had a question
Hold on one sec.
on the article.
Can I get the motion to amend first? Insert. Motion has been made and seconded to amend Article 20, inserting the word relative after the word action, prior to the word thereto. Discussion on the motion to amend. Seeing none, all those in favor of amending Article 20, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 20 is amended. Discussion on Article 20 as amended.
Okay. Elizabeth Francis, 31 Britton Circle. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right. I just had a question on what the additional $25,000 for the basketball courts are, what the breakdown of that is. I believe they're already constructed, so I'm curious as to why we need an additional $25,000 allocated for that.
The additional $25,000, the breakdown would be the top layer of asphalt for the parking area and along the granite curbing along the school access road has not been completed. That's somewhere between $12,000 and $15,000 to complete that work. And there's also a catch basin buried under the pavement that'll be raised to grade. We added some drainage for that new parking area. There's also approximately $10,000 to put down a 3-layer seal coating on the pavement. It's a colored system, not just white markings and the blacktop. So it's a pretty expensive but long-lasting seal coating system that's going in. And if we have any funds remaining within that 25, we're looking to purchase one set of bleachers and a couple picnic tables for outside. So that's the $25,000.
We've already allocated $28,000 for that project through town meeting articles. And there were 2 courts there. There's 1 now. And I guess the issue that I have with that request is that's for a parking lot. And there isn't any language in this article or any previous articles that would allocate funds for a parking lot. And I think it's kind of a shame that our kids lost a basketball court and we got a parking lot. And I also don't think there's any language in Article 13 from last year's that would indicate that there's any money to be funded for a parking lot. So I guess my question is, can we even use these funds for a parking lot if it's not what we voted for in town meeting? I mean, we got 1 less court and a parking lot, but that's not what we voted to approve. So I don't know if that's a allocation of funds or if the language in this article needs to be revised to say that we're paying for a parking lot.
Was that last fall, Liz? Was that the capital planning committee?
Yeah, it was Article 13 from the November 14, 2016. I have the article here if you want me to read it.
I got it.
And
see that, Mr. Wheeler? You're not the only one.
The one prior to that was $5,000 was allocated prior to that, Article 7. And there wasn't any language in that indicating that that money would be used for a parking lot either.
So the question, and I'm going to ask for town council's aid on this one, the question would seem to me to be, would you consider, for the purpose of finishing the reconstruction of the Pleasant Street basketball courts or take any action relative thereto, would you consider the general grounds as falling under that
description.
It's my understanding that there was a redesign done as part of this, and that would be an action that would be relative there too. So because there was a whole redesign, and I didn't look at it in depth at that point in time, but my understanding is there was a redesign of the basketball court and the parking lot, the curbs and everything that went along with it, which is why we are now have been amending some of the other articles to say relative there too. So I was not involved in the redesign, but that was my understanding. There was a total redesign done. As part of that redesign, the parking lot and the curbing was also included. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, because I wasn't involved in that part of it. But that language is to handle situations that fall under this particular type of auspices where there is a redesign, and those are actions that are relative there too. So when it was redesigned, the monies we used to do the entire redesign, which included those items which you're referring to now, which are the parking lot and the curbing. That's my understanding.
Well, I kind of disagree with that, because I think that this article should have indicated that the money is allocated for redesign of a parking area close to basketball courts.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Pacheco.
I think it's also important to note that a significant amount of private donations were raised for this project, and so if you were to factor out the cost of the sub-projects, I think the parking lot would be safely have funded through the private donations and not through town meeting warrants.
Again, there's no language in there that says that it's allocated for, so the parking lot that's already there, you already used funds that were, so either you use the donations for the parking lot, or you use funds that were supposed to be dedicated for a basketball court.
Well, according to you, Ms. Francis, town council just gave his legal opinion.
And that's, okay, so if this does not pass this evening, what are the plans for the basketball courts? I know we can stripe courts for a couple grand.
Then I think what we would do is not finish the add-ons that Mr. Buckley, the highway superintendent, were talking about.
Okay.
So it's been some years since I've been on those courts, Liz. Has the footprint of the courts changed? Is it still the same?
There were 2 courts, now there's 1. So no, the footprint is different. One court was eliminated.
Recently?
The new court is 1 court, the previous court was 2.
When was the previous court 2?
Before they tore it out.
That's recent? I mean, that's within
the last 6 months. So the original footprint of the basketball courts was 2. Now there's 1 and a parking lot.
What was the reason for taking the second court?
No idea.
So we made it 1 regulation size, Mr. Moderator. They weren't regulation size before, so now it's regulation size.
The footprint couldn't handle 2 regulation courts?
No.
Further discussion on Article 20. Does everybody feel like they can make an educated vote here? Do we need more discussion? We're good. Sir?
Well, she brings up a good point. The original article and this one does not talk about parking lot. And Selectwoman Smith, I might remind you of your comment about the North School when they wanted to use it for something other than storage. You brought up in that particular meeting that I was in, is the article specifically said the money was to go to refurbish the school for storage. Therefore, it shouldn't be used for anything else. This sounds like the exact same story. The article said it was to refurbish the basketball courts, not to build a parking lot.
Any further discussion on Article 20? I think this wording is tricky, and I tend to agree with town council. I think that there's enough latitude in the article to, although it doesn't explicitly mention parking lot, if we're talking about a reconstruction project, I think it fits in the 4 corners of the article. Now, that being said, if the town meeting can't get comfortable with the wording, you can always bring it back in May. work wouldn't get done this fall, but we could come back with the same funds and either word the article to be more descriptive around parking lot improvements or something else, whatever else town meeting wants to do. So. Some discussion up front as to whether or not we could amend the article. But again, we're going to fall into the same, changing the scope of the article. So, Mr. Buckley, is this work that you need to do this fall? You intend to do this fall? No? This would be a spring job. Yeah, I'm not sure an amendment's going to. I think an amendment compounds the issue that we have.
I'd like to make a motion to dismiss that article.
Okay, we already have we need to withdraw the original motion, which was made by Ms. Donahue. Can you make a motion to withdraw your original motion to approve Article 20? Okay, motion has been made and seconded to withdraw the original motion to accept Article 20 as amended. So that's off the floor. Now we have a motion to dismiss Article 20. Yes. Do I have a second? Motion has been made and seconded to dismiss Article 20. Discussion on the motion to dismiss Article 20. Mr. Wheeler, is this why you rise?
No, I wanted to make one statement before the current article, in that this article is, as Liz said, has really been done in 3 parts, and I don't like doing things in pieces without understanding what the total is. This was originally appropriated, as Liz said, as $5,000. Last year, $23,000, and now $25,000. What are we aiming for? $100,000? I learned very strong in business that you can't do things in parts. Because if you do and you don't complete the project, you effectively have wasted the prior money. My old boss used to say, Casey's already had the drink, so pay for it.
Mr. Moderator.
So I'm urging in the future that we don't write articles without explaining the total. I made the same objection a year ago on the 100,000 that I spoke to again this year on the salt.
Yeah. I think
you shouldn't vote for a piece of something that obligates you to continue the vote subsequently, or the original money has been wasted.
I think to be fair, I agree with you, Mr. Wheeler.
I'm going to sit down.
No, you don't have to sit down. You're going to get up again. You know you are, so you might as well just stay up. I think to be fair to the article, I think that the wording, so the basketball court reconstruction is complete, Liz? For the most part, with some striping. Yeah. So, in retrospect, and I don't know where you're going, Mr. Pacheco, but in retrospect, Article 20 should have been dealing with infrastructure improvements, not basketball court related. So that would answer your question, Mr. Wheeler. This is not a continuation of the basketball reconstruction. This is a new project to improve the infrastructure around the basketball court. And the article should have been worded that way, and we'll get it right in May if the motion to dismiss passes. Mr. Pacheco.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'll first address the elephant in the room. As most people know, this was named after my grandfather, and so for anybody who thinks I'm biased, I am. But with that being said, I think it's disheartening that we're debating $25,000 for a basketball court. Every day since this has been opened, there have been children there. And if we can save one child from the opiate crisis going on by enjoying recreational activities in the town of Raynham, then I think that's our moral obligation. And I think it's a little silly that we're debating that. In addition to that, over $50,000 in private donations were used towards this project. And as I said, if you look at the cost of the parking lot, I'm fairly certain that those private donations would cover that cost. We have a basketball court that, again, every day since the hoops have gone up, have been used by the youth in Raynham. There's no question that any of these funds have not been used appropriately. There's no question that you have a project that, in my opinion, exceeded expectations. And there's no question that, as with any project, from time to time, there's costs that were unexpected. In particular, on this project, they had to do some regrading because of some flooding. And if we're speaking to the vein of whether or not we should be appropriating in different increments, then I hope that same rule applies to Article 23, because we've funded renovations to the North School before, and now we're looking to fund it again. And so if we're going to be fair, let's be fair across the board. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to dismiss Article 20. Further discussion on the motion to dismiss Article 20. Seeing none, all in favor of dismissing Article 20, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 20 is dismissed. Article 21, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $21,206 to the Board of Selectmen personnel expense account to pay sick leave buyback for a retiring employee or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 21. Discussion on Article 21. Seeing none, all in favor of Article 21, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 21 passes. Article 22, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $22,000 to pay for the purchase and installation of a new telephone system at the Raynham Middle School at 420 Titicket Road, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 22. Discussion on Article 22. All those in favor of Article 22, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 22 passes. Article 23, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $25,000 for the continued maintenance or repair of the North School, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 23. Discussion on Article 23. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 23, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 23 passes. Article 24, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $20,000 for the renovations to the Gymkhana building at the Borden Colony to create an office for the Raynham Animal Control Department, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to dismiss Article 24. Discussion on the motion to dismiss Article 24. Mr. McKinnon.
I'm not really sure why. Why would they want to dismiss this stuff? Give me a why.
Fair question.
There are deed restrictions with regards to that particular piece of property. It can only be used for recreational purposes or agricultural purposes. And the way that it reads, that does not fit either one of those two descriptions. To place the Raynham Animal Control Department there does not fit the bill of either recreational purposes or agricultural purposes, and thereby would put the 250 acres at risk.
How nice to use this mic, so I'm going to use it.
But it's not plugged in. Notice I don't plug it in.
That's another story. That's for another day. I don't know why we don't amend the animal department. If that's the word, Mr. Counsel, that seems to be of concern, I would say that if one wishes to put 20,000, and that isn't obviously my motion. It says here that it's submitted by the selectmen, so I'll let them say why. I heard at one time it was going to be 2,000, another time it was going to be 20,000, and quite candidly, if this, I'm sorry to say, if this passes or fails, it doesn't mean much to me. But if you eliminate the animal control aspect of it, which I don't know why that would be part of this article. And the reason I say that is, that I'm going to say that of all the departments that have operated in the town of Raynham, my town, the Park and Rec has probably been, if not the top, I don't know anybody who does any better than Park and Rec over the period of years. Done wonderful. But they maintain what we call the Eastman House, which is now where the Park and Rec office building is. They maintain rental property. They maintain, well, the brick building had to be dismissed because of Prop 2.5. But they've maintained the buildings in around the Morton Colony for over 20, 30 years now. So all due respect, I don't know where the language comes in. And I haven't read it for many a year, and if you say so, counsel, then you say so, that's the way it is. I don't know, unless it would just be eliminating why, and I don't know why the animal control has to be here, because all the things that have done over the period of years have been done with the Park and Rec agreeing to it. If there's someone from Park and Rec that doesn't want to fix this building up. Now let me just say about this building. Yes, I've seen it. And does it need some repair? Yes, probably does. Probably does. Basically, Park and Rec doing the way they're doing it, if you take a broom to it, it probably would be okay for that sort of thing. The horses, people have been going there for over 10 years, maybe 20 years, the horse people. And they've never complained, but they probably never took a broom to it either. So whatever you want to do about this building, if you want to vote no on this 20,000, no skin, I would skin on anybody's nose. I don't think anybody cares one way or the other. I don't know why the animal portion was put into that article, and the selectmen can give us that. Mr. Counselor, what I'm asking you is that the animal control aspect, because the horse people are there now. Are we trying to say that they shouldn't be here? Because I think they're an animal.
I think you're right, but it's a recreational use for horses. Yeah, people are riding them. They're using the the field. They're riding horses. Yeah, so the horses are animals, and it's done for recreational use. The animal control officer, that's a whole separate issue. The use is not recreational. That's for storage of animals, I assume, that are picked up, or it's the use in and of itself in the description that creates the problem. The horses that are being used there and have been used there, I would suggest to you respectfully, I don't think there's a problem with that, because it clearly is recreational. People are enjoying it. Again, I'd suggest it's clearly recreational. Animal control, I assume, would have animals in cages. I mean, dogs in cages. It's for animal control. It's not for recreational use.
And sir, would you recommend you amending it to eliminate the words for animal use?
Well, I don't know what it's going to be used for.
Well, to fix up the building, they say. Isn't that what the selectmen, can I have the selectmen say why they want that building fixed up? Because it's, by the way, Liz Francis for the last, Liz Francis for the last, I'll say, 10 years has been rehabbing all of these buildings. And what this would be rehabbing the building. Now, if you don't want to rehab the building, that's fine, and maybe 20,000 is too much.
Do you mind if I comment on that?
Please.
So, in dealing with the state, our partners in that agreement at Borden Colony, the issue isn't so much of renovating or protecting the buildings. It's the building itself can't be used for, say, an office purpose, right? It needs to be, the way I understand the deed, it has to either be used as recreation or agricultural purpose. So the deed is pretty specific about what the use of the building can be. So unfortunately, that kind of restricts what we can use some of those buildings in that property for.
This is being taped, so I better be kind of careful the way I say this. I'm going to say it anyway because you got me up here. The horse venue and Raynham Pride Day is in the agricultural section. It's not under the supervision of Park and Rec. It's agricultural. Now, do we want to redesign that through our representative or senator someday? Yeah, I hope so. But quite frankly, I think you all understand that we don't trust the state. So therefore, if we start to open up Pandora's box, which is what you're preventing by saying this, council, so I think you've done your job well. But you don't want to get involved in something other than what this meant to be. I'm assuming that the selectmen went from a recommended originally of 2,000, just sort of give it a broom and a brush, up to 20,000, that they thought it would be a good idea for the Park and Rec to have a building that was in a little better condition than, as you say, would be used for whatever. Up to you. It doesn't. You understand? You understand that you're on very thin ice when you talk about that building, because you're in an area that itself, under the description of the deed, may not include it as Park and Rec. The Park and Rec were given authority by the Commonwealth of Mass to manage all those buildings on that premises. And so they've done it. They've done it, as I say, in a very capable manner. All of those buildings, thanks to Liz and her work at that time, are in excellent condition. But this building looks in somewhat disarray. With a selectman wish to lower it down to 2,000, wish to keep it at 20, or do you wish to eliminate the animal, or do you wish to throw the whole thing out? It matters not to me. I just thought it would be a nice day to take a look at it.
I don't know how to answer it originally, because you see, all right, originally, this is not going to work well.
You don't need it that close to it, Mary. Just push it back a little bit.
There you go. I should might have just talked, because I've certainly got a big enough mouth. Originally, I proposed to the Park and Rec that if this building could be used for a program that is being run through a person who is part of the animal control, and that is the cat adoption program. Now, at this point in time, the cat adoption program is in the North School. The North School is supposed to be for storage. That is what we voted, and that is what we're going to do with it. So temporarily, they are there. They're going to have to find a place to put their program. I approached the Park and Rec department and asked if they thought it was a possibility that they could use that building, which they tell me they use once a month for about 2 hours. At this point in time, I thought it would be okay. Park and Rec evidently thought it would be okay. I don't understand an article that says that they're going to put an office there. It was never an intent to put an office in that building. The intent and a motion that I made at a selectmen's meeting was to put $2,000 into that building to clean it up, because it's now being used in one section for storage, to clean the building, so therefore they could go in there and set up their adoption program once a month, so to speak. The article got turned into an office for the animal control, and it's now $20,000. I don't know what to tell you. As far as I was concerned, It should have just been cleaned out and used for the cat adoption program to get them out of the North School and give them a place to go. Town council now says that that's not a viable use for the building. Now, I can't go against town council, so here we stand. We have a program that is being run by the assistant animal officer, and she's at North School, of which once we put storage in there, she's going to have to move. What else can I say? Town council, anything to add to that? I don't know what to tell you. I don't know whether to try to amend that to eliminate the office for the animal control department and bring it back down to $2,000. But if they can't use it, then I would dismiss the article and not put any money into it.
Not to be the John Texera First Street in the mid to late 1990s. I was on the Park and Rec Commission. At that time, we tried to use a piece of that property to change it from a portion that was designated agricultural to recreational. The town council at the time advised us it can't be done. But the way it's described now is the way it has to be. To put an office for another department in the town doesn't fly. It's unfortunate because we do need a place for the animal control officer. He operates out of the back of a truck right now. But unfortunately, the law prohibits us from using that particular place. I agree with town council. I've been here before.
So the motion on the floor is to dismiss Article 24. Still what we want to go with? You know, the suggestion to amend it to remove the creating an office, I'm not sure does us much good. It's the use of the building. It's not what we call it. And if
it really is, Marie, only a couple of grand. We don't need town meeting to approve that. We can fit that in. We can take care of that under general appropriations. Because from Park and Rec or...
Yeah, if it can't be used, it can't be used. Yep, I understand.
And then the party who is running the adoption will have to then find some place on their own in order to do that, because she's not doing it for the town of Raynham.
Right.
She's running a nonprofit and doing it for herself. So then I would motion to dismiss the article.
Further discussion on your motion to dismiss Article 24. Seeing none, all those in favor of dismissing Article 24, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 24 is dismissed. Article 25, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $10,000 for the purchase of 2 new copy machines for Town Hall, to take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 25. Discussion on Article 25. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 25, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 25 passes. Article 26, to see if the town will vote to accept the layout of Princess Lane, Duke Drive, and Queens Circle, and authorize the Board of Selectmen to accept a deed of conveyance of the fee and all rights and easements in and to the ways and related drainage easements. And a description follows, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to dismiss Article 26. Discussion on the motion to dismiss Article 26. Absolutely. Question is why?
Special town meeting, it requires at least 100 signatures. In my understanding, I was told there were only 16 signatures. So, thank you.
Further discussion on Article 26. All those in favor of the motion to dismiss Article 26, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 26 is dismissed. Article 27, to see if the town will vote to accept a deed in lieu of foreclosure from Peter M. De Girolamo Jr. and Dennis M. Cody, conveying the property in Raynham, Bristol County, Mass. shown as parcel B off of Cody Lane within Forest Park, which is a subdivision within the town of Raynham, and the description follows, or take any action relative thereto. Motion has been made and seconded to approve Article 27. Discussion on Article 27. Mr. King.
Michael King, Town Treasurer. The locus described in Article 27 is a path running from Cody Lane to 75 landlocked acres owned by the town of Raynham behind Britton Street. According to the plan for the subdivision, this piece of land was supposed to be deeded to the town. It was not, and since then taxes have accrued on the parcel, and the town needs to go use the deed in lieu of foreclosure process in order to accept it.
Thank you, sir. I suspect the land is land conservation property, or is it? It's not buildable, right? Or no access? Further discussion on Article 27? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 27, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Article 27 passes. Motion to dissolve? Motion has been made and seconded to dissolve the special town meeting. Discussion on the motion to dissolve. Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to dissolve town meeting, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Thank you very much, folks. Enjoy your evenings.